10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Folks, the Power Hour is live once again. Glad they got my chicken wing down right before going live. Still got a few more off to the side that I'm going to devour during the show as I'm here at Wild Wing Cafe. They're providing internet. Dujanay Bland also co-hosting with yours truly, Lee Craft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer. We're going to go ahead and transition very quickly. We don't got Mr. Leslie Horne very long. From Las Vegas, Nevada. He's out there for the SEMA show. And we're going to have a good conversation with Leslie and also Cody Austin, Mr. Bland.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. Again, great season and a great season finale for us there, at Shadyside Dragway. Really happy with the way not only our crew finished for SEGA and how those guys finished on the racetrack. They really had a show put on for them out there. Every racer was literally putting on a show out there. Those fans got their money's worth.
They absolutely did. Hey, if you want your money's worth when it comes to high performance pumps in your high performing application, it's Weldon High Performance. Boom. Leslie, owner of the Southeast Gassers Association and driver for Chick Magnet, live with us. How's it going, man?
Good, brother. How are y'all? Dujanay, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. It's been fun. It's great to be kind of a little bit recovered, but it was all worth it, man. All the tiredness was absolutely worth it. I couldn't be more ecstatic about how this season went and finished. It's great to be a part of this family.
How it finished up was absolutely phenomenal, to be honest with you. We had a pretty bad run there at the beginning. Getting rain and stuff, but I'll tell you, these last 3 or 4 races has been just, unbelievable, phenomenal what it was. And I was just telling Ben Christopher from the Happy Days, he's down here with me, and I was telling him yesterday, it wasn't a week and a half ago, or 2 weeks ago, I was like, man, I'm ready for this to be over with, dude. Let's just get that, because we was just killing it trying to get there. I know some of y'all seen I was having several problems, transmission issues, what transmission issues, or shifter issues, and it was just like, man, let's just get this thing over with. Now that it's over with, I told him down there earlier today, I'm like, man, I'm about ready to go back racing again already. It ain't even been, 2 or 3 days. It ain't been long at all. It seems like it's been forever, because I had to come back from the race and then jump on the plane the next morning at 5 o'clock in the morning and come out here, and this is like a whole different world for me out here, an old redneck South Carolina boy out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, just seeing all these lights and all the fancy stuff, and it's been great. I've enjoyed being out here to see my show, and I'm glad I'm out here. And a lot of my friends is out here. Greg that drives the Joker, he's out here too, and Rocky, and John Tech guy, and Rob Walden. There's several of us is out here that I've run into. It's been a good trip. I've really enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
A lot of folks, just as it is with PRI, though PRI is certainly hyper-focused on the motorsports world, they gravitate to the SEMA show, and you're going to bump into so many. And I'm sure you're going to be bumping into plenty that they're going to know the Southeast Gassers Association and what's happened this year. Leslie, before we dive in on the year in particular, because that's why we really have got you here, you were in the championship hunt at the end, but it went awry as your car went into the wall. So I'm going to bring up here for everyone to see what transpired. And, not super good. And I'll remove it there, but that's what happened. Walk us through it.
Yeah, that's Lee, that was 100% my fault. I done a little longer burnout. I kind of got out of my routine. And I went to back up, and I realized when I'd done a burnout, I got excited. You know, the big crowd there. Sometimes it happens to you. You know, you want to put on a great show. And I looked up, and I was way down the track, and so I didn't want Robin, my bug, to have to run that far down. So I was looking in my rearview mirror, and so I went back really fast, and I didn't see her, and I went past her. And then when I realized what I'd done, I was already rolled back so far that I was already past almost the staging beams. And I looked up, she was trying to tell me to slow down, and I had done a very long burnout, and there was smoke everywhere. And when I backed up, by the time I backed up and pulled in, she couldn't get me lined up right. Brian behind me couldn't get me lined up right. And so I left a little bit cocked to the left. And when it left, it just, usually I've been in that situation a lot of times. I just grab another gear and pull back over, no problem. And you can see in my video, my in car, I'll share it with you, Lee, which I put it on my thing. Is I was turning the car in the air like I was going to do something. I had my elbow turned almost all the way around the other way trying to get it. Then I didn't lift because I thought when I hit the wall, I knew it was going to hit the wall, but I thought when I hit the wall, I'd bounce back out in the track and keep on going because, you know, in Southeast Gassers, the wall's not out of bounds. You know, we can use the wall. You know, the center line, you're disqualified, but the wall is you can use it. And so I was hoping it was going to bounce over, but I've never, as many times as I've been at Shady Side, I've never paid attention to that wall. It's like a cheese grater down through there. It's got like these big indentions in it until I drove into it good. And so as soon as I hit it, I thought it maybe bounced off, and I was still on the gas, and that's the reason why I hit it twice, but then the wheels was knocked off of it, so it wasn't going nowhere. So I finally just gave up and coasted down through there. But yeah, I hate what I did, and you know, if I coulda, shoulda, woulda, you know, I've done said that 50 million times, but you know, at the end of the day, I was super proud of Chase too. You know, he's really put in a big effort this year for the championship. And when we was at Gulfport Friday night, he had some bad luck, and so I took a 10-point lead on him. Well, they come out Saturday. I had some bad luck, and like I say, my shifter made my transmission go back to first gear, and I busted the transmission. So I went out the first round, so he was able to go win that race. So he picked those 10 points up plus 5 to put him in the lead. So going into Shady Side, I needed to get around him 2 rounds. I needed him to go out in either the first round or at least semifinals. If I'd have had him in the semifinals and could outrun him and then went on to win it, you know, then I could have won the championship. But it just wasn't the way it was to be. He had the better prepared car, and he got down through there. And we all struggled Friday night up there at Shady Side because the track had been rained on like 4.5 inches for the last 3 or 4 days. You know, and the Buff Boys and Shady Side, they do an excellent job getting the track prepared for us. And it was cold Friday night, and then the rain, and we all struggled. Nobody really done no huge times. A lot of people was all over the track, but then it comes Saturday, and that track, it started coming around, and we was inching up. We'd win a 523 the round right before at 135.3 mile an hour. So we was right there. We was getting close, and you know, the old Ford had come out there. Gabe, he come out there and he put out a pretty good number there. I think he went a 5:17 something, which was a good number. But then Chase ended up doing a 5:17 too. But I don't think the fastest I went all weekend before I hit the wall was a 5:23, and then Ben was a 5:19. So I was number 4 qualifier, but I think we could have been there. You know, in the end, they did turn the lights on, so you knew what everybody run. But that was a heck of a race there in that last round with Chase and Gabe. I mean, Gabe went a 5:24 to Chase's 5:23, so that you don't get much closer than that. So.
Dujane, you muted.
You know, but a heck of a race, heck of a weekend, and a heck of a year for SEGA as a whole. You know, a lot of people turned out and really brought it this year. It made a lot of the classes and the competition really close, except for, you know,
Jerry Dean.
Jerry Dean runs away with everything.
Yeah.
But it really was a really good season for just the Southeast Gassers as a whole.
It was, Dujane, and I mean, like I say, the last part of the season, just, I don't know, it just gives you excitement as the whole drag industry. You know, it's no secret. You know, a lot of stuff's been struggling this year with some of the other things that we have no control over. You know, you hear of tracks closing and everything else, and it's really gives you a little extra bounce in your step when you go to Gulfport. There's 5,000 people shows up. That's pretty strong. You go to Shady Side the last race, and there's 2,300 people. That's a pretty good turnout, that little track. And the ripple effect that has on the community and the tracks is it's like a win for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a win to know that people come to see our show, that spends the money to come to see our show, and it helps that whole community and that racetrack and everybody involved. And that's one thing that I enjoy too. Yes, I enjoy racing, but I enjoy being able to go somewhere we have a good turnout and the people really come out. And man, we've got some great fans that follow us from race to race to race, and I can't say enough about them. And we go to some great tracks, and we're going to try a few different tracks this year that we hadn't been to in a while, and maybe some brand new ones we ain't never been to. We're hoping we'll have the schedule out, by Thanksgiving, which is a couple of weeks. We're hoping maybe to have it out next week, but all of us being down here at SEMA, not getting home till the weekend, we're going to throw us behind a week. And John is working on some of the new rules and stuff. There are going to be a few rule changes and stuff, and some stuff made mandatory and stuff. Just nothing major, just decals and stuff like that. And we're working on sponsors and stuff, and we got to actually talk to some people. I'm not going to say their names down here about some sponsors for our live. Most of y'all out there know that Lee and Deuce Naves have been doing the lives at every event for us, and so there's a great opportunity there for a lot of sponsorship. Really, to be honest with you, to get out there and get their name recognized. During these down times and during these in between rounds and stuff. And Lee can tell you more about all those numbers, but we've had some really, really big numbers on that. But anyway, that's not what I'm on here for. I'm just super, super blessed and super excited. And as far as the chick magnet, I know I'm jumping around on you, and I'm trying to cover a lot because I got to cut short. I've got another obligation here. But the chick magnet, I looked at it before I left, and it's really not as bad as what it looks. I mean, it looked horrendous when I first looked at it, but don't have no frame damage. It's got a bent front axle, the rear end's bent, and the lost two of my magnesium wheels, front end's knocked off of it, needs a door. Probably put a set of doors on it, and like I say, it's as far as the structure, everything looks good, and I've got somebody really good that's going to work on it for me to make sure everything is straightened out. Naturally, Brian Harris Race Cars will do the majority of the repairs on it, and then my buddy Little Dave's already sitting on ready to paint the car back. So then we'll have it back. I really feel like that if I can get home and work on it a little bit, we'll have her back in a couple of months, ready to go do some testing somewhere. We'll probably have to test with snow tires or something, but I think we'll be getting close to ready.
I think your incident, I think Chase's incident, and just something that I love about with the lives having, whether it's been Jacob, whether it's been Tristan, certainly Dugenet for many of the races, and capturing that shot near the 8th mile, the racing in the Southeast Gassers Association is intense, and it many times is very...
Lost you, Lee.
And you gotta, have a certain height in your wheelie and all these type of things. You all are racing. These are not just show cars. They are race cars.
Yeah. And a lot of people online, you'll see some of the crazy comments every night. You're a fool. You're an idiot. All that stuff. They don't realize that, the wall is still in bounds. They don't, some people make fun of my helmet. Where'd you get your helmet at? Legos or Walmart or whatever. But they don't understand we started this thing as a show, and it's turned into a full-on race. And we still try our best to imitate pre-1967 as possible. Yes, is our cars 100%? No. If they was, we wouldn't be running, 510s in A gas and 550s in B gas and 590s in C gas, So, but we do try to have the appearance of the car, and we try to play the part as best that we can to put on a great show for the fans. But I do get catch a lot of slack with some of that stuff, but I don't let it bother me because they don't know. A lot of these people are sitting there in their mama's basement underwear, kicking on the keyboards. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it does go that way. I want to say this before you get out of here, I want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to be able to put SEGA on display. we are here for you. To all the racers, we are here for you to get you guys out there, get the show out there, get the series out there so that you guys can have more fans to show up to the stands. And we all take pride in doing the best work that we can to give a very good product as far as a stream. So Leslie, I want to say thanks to you for believing in us. And hey man, let's all work together. It's a big Sega family, and next year it's going to be even better.
Yeah, Tuesday, I don't know if you've noticed, and Lee, I don't know if you noticed, but it seems like the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 races, it seems like that everybody's just kind of starting to mesh together a little bit, and everybody is starting to get, kind of what I'm trying to do and kind of what our team is trying to do to put on a good show for the fans. And, this is a family event. This is not something that you cannot bring your whole family out. So, I mean, I want it to be a thing to where, 3,000 people comes out, brings their kids, because we got to have this younger generation to get involved in this stuff. If not, guys, I don't know. I mean, I know y'all don't believe this, man. I know y'all think I'm 20, but I'm really not. When we get going, these younger generation, we got to get them energized somehow to do this, and that's something I may want to look at, trying to do something for a younger class. I mean, I don't know, an under 20 or under 18 class. I don't know. Something maybe down the road that we can look at, see if we can get them interested in this thing to keep this thing going, keep these tracks alive and keep these smaller tracks alive. And it's just, I don't know, there's so much there. And I do worry about the industry just like all of us do, of what if, and, but then again, I also am very lucky that what we do get to do, and very thankful that we do get to go have fun and enjoy it. And yes, sometimes it gets a little tense, but as a whole, it's a great event. To me, and I could be a little prejudiced here, it's the best drag racing out there, bar none. I don't care what you want to watch, because everybody can relate to the Southeast Gassers. Everybody can relate to a clutch with a 4-speed straight axle. Wheels up, leaving. It looks like a car that you can build in your backyard. Compared, not taking nothing away from these big fancy cars that runs 3 seconds. But your average kid cannot relate to one of those with all the electronics where you just get up there and mash a button and let go of it and it drive. It's kind of, if you're gonna get that, you'll get you a Tesla, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, it's just my opinion on it. But anyway, I love it, guys, and y'all done an awesome job, and I think it's getting better and better and better. We know that our lives, struggle sometimes with picking up and stuff, and sometimes it gets a little grainy. But some of these tracks we go to, they have to pump in sunlight, so it gets a little hard out there on us sometimes to get them out. But at the end of the day, y'all do get the gist of everything, and y'all get to hear and see it live. And I'm proud of Lee and Duchesnay and the whole crew that we put together. It's not just Lee and Duchesnay. There's a bunch of them behind the scenes that puts all this together, and that's what a lot of people don't understand, what really goes into putting on one of these events. It ain't that I just get to throw my car in the trailer and come. It's stuff that we got to do to get there. Me and Rocky, I mean, we talk 3 or 4 times a week. Wayne too. Wayne's putting forth a big effort too, and they're helping us a lot too. It started out, me and Wayne was going to stay out of it, but it's just getting more and more and more. And John's been working his butt off on these rules and stuff he's wanting to try to not really change, but kind of revisit some of them that's kind of got left a little lax. So I expect something coming out from John before Thanksgiving too, on some of this stuff. So anyway, guys, I'm just gonna keep rattling, and I don't mean to rattle, but like I say, that's the way I roll. I get rolling, can't stop sometimes, even if it is towards the wall.
Well, something that Southeast Gassers is doing, I think that is very similar to what Funny Car Chaos is doing in Nitro Chaos. Everybody wants to run at somewhere like Bristol Dragway. Great facility, phenomenal facility. But you can have a big wedding at a small church type situation, such as SEGA, such as Funny Car Chaos, and go to the venues such as a Shady Side, such as a Jackson Dragway or a Holiday Raceway.
Knoxville, whatever.
Yeah, and it elevate that facility because of the program, and you make a day for them that makes a year. And that is important in the economy of drag racing because, as you mentioned, and we all know, so many small tracks are going by the wayside. Sometimes that SEGA event helps float things all the way to the next year. And SEGA is doing that. SEGA plays an important part, not just in entertainment, but continuing the sport.
Yeah. It does, and I'm proud of that. And another thing too, Lee, and sometimes it's not a fit for people too. We get that all the time. Well, what does it pay? What is that? But it's the event that we put on. I mean, I don't know another way to say it. You got to be able to drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to do a show, and yes, we are serious about racing, and yes, we got some seriously bad. I would gamble to say we probably got the baddest gassers they are, hands down. I don't know if there's anybody out there that's cocky, wants to come on, jump on in, and got a naturally aspirated, wait for a cubic inch, 4-speed car. You come on. We got somewhere to put you. We got a class to put you in, and it'll be an eye-opening experience for you. So put your pants on, get out of your mama's basement, get off the keyboard. Let's go get that Falcon, Fairlane, whatever you got. You come on.
Yeah, I agree. And when you got support from a guy who's all the way out there in Alpaca, Wisconsin.
Yeah, sir. He's here. He's here too. I just got to see him and Leah just a few minutes ago. I'm actually, like I say, Leah brought me up here to their room where I could do it. I was going to try to do it downstairs. I thought that would be cool with all those people, but man, it is loud. I mean, I couldn't hear myself think down there. So it's so anyway, it's good to see my folks. Even though I just seen him 3-4 days ago when I first seen him down there, it's like I hadn't seen him in a month. So. We're tight knit more than people know. The racers, all of our racers want to help each other, and everybody steps up. I mean, I don't care if you're in super stock, H gas, it don't matter, A gas, whatever. Everybody tries to help everybody to get there and be good. I don't know of nothing. And me and we was just talking a while ago. We was walking through and we was talking about going to some tracks and worrying about somebody. He says sometimes about leaving his car out. He gets worried about leaving his car out, him staying in his trailer and stuff. And I said, brother, I don't think we ever got to worry about that at SEGA. If we do, well, it's going to be a bad day. So it's I don't know, brother. I love it, and I'm getting more excited about it as the time goes. I get frustrated along the ways, and everybody does. And especially when the weather really gets you down, and you look at all the outgo, and you're like, whew. Man, I just don't know. But then you get a couple of great events behind you. And then you get, I don't like to stereotype nobody, but you get the old timers that comes up and just tell you how much they appreciate you and how much thank you for what you're doing. And, that stuff really goes a long ways, and it keeps me going, to hear somebody. I ain't one of those. I don't want no pat on the back, it don't matter about none of that stuff. But to keep the sport going of what Quayne, built, he had the vision and what he started just to keep it going. Quayne wanted to move on, as all y'all know, and he's still there and he's still active and still helping Jared in the White Wagon. I keep forgetting what they've changed the name of it to. Not on purpose, I just forget. But anyway, yes, it's I don't know, brother. I sit here and ramble about it all day. To me, I think it's the greatest show going. I think it's the greatest thing you can bring a family. There's not too many drag racing events that you could bring your 5-year-old kid to, your 8-year-old kid, and just let them rip and run, do whatever, and not have to worry about them. I've been to a couple other events, and I'm not going to say no names, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to bring nobody here, So it's just the people's got experience. I think it's something that everybody needs to experience, and we ain't perfect by no means, and we fall short every day. But everybody gets up, living, and breathing, falls short every day. So it is what it is. We're gonna keep on plugging, keep on going, and we're gonna keep on having fun as long as we can have fun. As long as the good Lord will let us, that's what we're gonna do.
Yes, sir.
Well, keep up the good work, Leslie. I know routinely over the year on social media, I will see that people traveled from Canada, Idaho, across some big body of water, whether from Hawaii or the UK, and they are never disappointed. They say the 12 hours, the days of travel were worth it to experience a Southeast Gas Association race. So it's real.
It is, and just like when I hit the wall in my car, Lee, just the pure. I mean, dude, it was like everybody coming up and checking on me. Well, you was up there trying to film it. I mean, I didn't know that many people was there. I mean, it was just, I know people's nosy, want to see it and all that stuff, but just the pure support and the people coming up, man, you okay? yeah, I was okay. It was a little bump up, no biggie. But, it's just, I don't know how to explain how energized that made me. I didn't even, at that point, I wasn't even thinking about a race no more. I was just thinking, what we do to get the car, ready to go back racing again. And I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but it was just electrifying, dude. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. And I mean, I don't know, brother. I'm just excited. And I'm sitting here rambling again. Like I told you, I was quitting 10 minutes ago, but it's just, dude, it's just a great thing. I'm glad to be part of it. And I'm super proud of all of my racers. I mean, I had racers that said it first year they was going to race every race. And I had one, Ray Blue. And I know there was other ones that made a bunch of sacrifices, but Ray Blue told me he was going to make every race this year. And he blew his engine up at Gulfport. And he goes to a junkyard and buys one out of a junkyard, like $450, puts a push rod in it, puts it in his car just because he said he was going to make all the races. That's dedication, dude. I mean, then you got Greg and Leah who travel everywhere they go is 20 hours. I mean, they can go to Walmart, it's 20 hours. I mean, it seems like where they live, everywhere they go is 20 hours. But man, it's just. I don't want to sit here and name all of them. I mean, Chase. I mean, there's just so many. I mean, all the Alabama game that comes. I mean, I'm super proud of all of them. And I like I said in my driver's meeting, I'm proud of the guy that makes 6 races a year too. I'm proud of the guy that makes 3 races a year. We want them all, but we want them all to come and have a good time. One of the things that kind of holds us back a little bit now, and I hit on it a while ago, is, dude, we've got pretty fast, dude. I mean, it's pretty seriously fast, So it makes it tough. A lot of those people, they can't build a car, come out there, and they go out there and make their first pass, and they run 8.0, and then somebody goes there and runs a 5.15 behind them. That douses your hopes pretty quick. So anyway.
I just appreciate the guys and girls who come out, and they may not be the fastest out there, but they're running. Diana Casto comes to mind.
100%.
They may not have the fastest car, but they're out there every weekend, and she's giving it her all and doing the best that she can, on the starting line to try to get the W. They had a little bit extra power this weekend. They were looking forward to that when they came up, but I was thinking about Bad Alibi as well. Blows the thing up over there in Gulfport. I didn't expect to see him. And he's like, yeah, we don't have a fast engine, but we're going to be out here. We're going to run it. And, that's dedication. And that goes to show the level of and the passion for what is being taken place here at Southeast Gassers Association. So, it from top to bottom, the fastest to those who can't run that fast and come out and put on a show. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and the family too.
Yes.
Bad Alibi does it with his son. I mean, that's the stuff that it don't matter no dollar figure. It don't matter how fast you are. When you spend time with the family, make those memories. I mean, look at the stuff that I've just got to do in the last 2 years since purchasing it. I mean, I've been to Waupaca, Wisconsin. I can't even say it right. I've been to PRI 2 or 3 times. Now I'm out here in Las Vegas. First time I've ever been out here. Before this, I hardly didn't leave Spartanburg, South Carolina. Furthest I'd go, it's to Myrtle Beach or something. So it's just it's given me a lot of things to see that I wouldn't have seen. And it's that's just is what's phenomenal to me. And this the families, Diana and Dana Castro. I mean, they come. They come and I mean they stay in the trailer. They have a great time. They always. I mean, I've never seen them mad. They're always in a good mood, and that's 90% of what it is. And I mean, and a lot of the fun part is Friday nights, being there Friday nights. That's a lot of the fun, going around and eat. And my son Logan, he loves to come. When he comes, that son, he'll eat everybody out of house and home. He'll go around somebody and say, "Hey Logan, we got a hamburger over here," and he'll be like, "Dad, I say the big plate of spaghetti, but I think I want one of those hamburgers." And then somebody come up and say, "Hey, we got a filet mignon left over here." He'll eat I don't know. He's like like I got a little kitten that comes to my house that eats all the time. That's kind of the way Logan, he eats and eats and eats. I don't know how he does it, but they all were good to him. Miss Hall, it was great. I got to quit saying names. I can't talk enough about how great everybody is at Southeast Gassers. I mean, I can't even. there's so many of them. The whole thing. I can't. I got to quit saying names. So I love them all. I appreciate all of them.
Well, Leslie, look, thank you for your time. Keep up the good work with the Southeast Gases Association. You keep enjoying Las Vegas as well, and take it all in and don't lose too much money.
That's right. You ain't got to worry about that. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Lee, go ahead and finish your wings, and I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I got them. I've been working through them. We're getting there.
I seen you on my side. Looks good.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See you,
Take
brother.
care.
Yeah,
Leslie
man.
Horne, owner and competitor in the Southeast Gassers Association, was in a hard-fought championship battle, came all the way down to the final race. And, he's racing, put it in the wall to try to get a championship in SEGA racing. It would have been his third AGAS championship, fourth in SEGA, if I remember correctly, overall. And Chase Howard comes away with his first impressive season across the board for the Southeast Gases Association. SEGA, there's some things if you're out there in the car culture and automotive world and you're looking to spend your marketing dollars, SEGA is a great platform, growing social media platform on all its channels. Some spectacular racing is happening each and every event. You can definitely see that when you go watch the live streams and the playbacks, and you can see these beautiful cars going head-to-head right down to the stripe, and it's just simple and it makes sense. So if you're out there, there's a lot of room within the Southeast Gases Association that you could partner up with, and it has been a tremendous year for the Southeast Gases Association. I think 2026 is going to be even better.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to 2026. It's going to be phenomenal. I want to thank Megan Kraft. She was the true hero this weekend. Went in, saved the day, got us the parts we needed to fix the stream so we wouldn't have the issue at the track. So shout out to you.
Yes.
Look, Tom, we're thinking about you. We love you. We're praying for you. Shout out to Steve Smith and his wife. And thank all of you, the fans who came out and supported them. I mean, from Gulfport right to Shady Side, their tent was completely packed with great gear. The posters that he had, I mean, just impressive stuff there. So shout out to them for all that they do for Southeast Gassers. And last but not least, my teammates, Lee, thank you for trusting in me to be able to be a part of this thing and giving me an opportunity. We have I always say I don't really have friends. I have family. And, man, we've got a really cool family. Adam, Dobbs, excellent job with the pictures. Chris always doing a hell of a job on the starting line. We all come together, even when it goes crazy sometimes, to get the job done. And I can't wait to get back started again in 2026.
Yeah, folks don't realize, like, when you're streaming, like when you go to a track for the first time and you've never streamed there, what all you have to figure out. And how I typically get audio from the announcer was causing an issue over the PA. And yes, my wife, Megan, she went, I sent her some photos. I said, you need to go to this music store and you need to just say, I need help to get audio from this source to that source. And that music store in Anderson, South Carolina, credit to them. They helped her, got exactly what I needed as far as an adapter, and was able to pick up sound from David Lancaster, the voice of the Southeast Gases Association. But it's always more challenging than people realize with streaming. I was watching the NHRA stream from SEMA earlier today, and Warren Evans is conducting that stream. We all know Warren Evans, professional, gets the job done for sure. And in the comments section, everybody is, audio's terrible, audio's terrible, audio's terrible. And all you had to do was adjust your YouTube audio up along with your device audio up, and everything was just fine.
Yep.
So it wasn't on Warren. It was on the dumb people commenting who didn't realize how to operate their own technology.
Yep.
So every now and then, in fact, you out there, it's you. Just every now and then.
Yeah.
Okay?
Just every now and then. Take a little
Just how
responsibility.
just every now and then. And to the entire SEGA staff, hey, got through 2025 and didn't just get through it, but I think in so many ways succeeded. And I think what you did, I think what Jacob did, I think what Tristan did.
Yeah.
You were manning the swinging camera for many of the races. Tremendous jobs, because it is harder to operate a camera than people realize and swing it. It is much harder. And you don't get to set up the camera the same time every time, because every track is different.
No.
And that shot looks different. And, Chris, with Frank Stein's Garage, he understood already how to put together some great reels.
Yes.
And he has done that for the Southeast Gases Association. But also, at times, he would put down the rig for the reels, and he would hold a live stream camera, and he provided great shots on the starting line for the live stream as well. So, and oh, by the way, it was my first year trying to figure out how to stream everything and bring that all together. I'd seen Warren do it for years, but now I'm streaming for Chaos and streaming for SEGA and available to stream for anyone else. And streaming is far more challenging than you may realize. If you're like, man, Lee does not look happy on Friday and Saturday when I'm trying to stream, that's in fact true. And I'm stressed, and I'm trying to get the product out, because it's real time. You have to be able to troubleshoot, and you have to be able to fix something very quickly. And there are so many layers to everything, especially audio. Audio is the most challenging thing when it comes to a live stream. Internet. So, right. And I know now I just cannot trust track internet, period, whatsoever. Just Starlink every time, point toward the north, get the right signal, and you just go with it. So, things that you learn. But Southeast Gases Association, great organization, and just some of the best racing. Some of the shots you were getting at Shadyside, and that's just in that what we've been talking about. I was very concerned about that shot and it facing the sun. We originally intended for it to be a different shot, and yet it worked out great. It was a great looking shot, and just so many times watching the stream and the shots you got, man, you could really see how intense and how close the racing with SEGA is. So
close.
Yes, very good. Very good.
So close. Yeah.
Well, Dujanay, we've got to transition to Mr. Cody Austin. He's going to be competing this weekend with the IHRA with Fuel Alters. Fuel Alters are back, baby.
Yes,
with
sir.
The IHRA and beyond in Nitro Chaos. And, also Fuel Altered Chaos is only like a couple of weeks away. Look, Fuel Alters are the thing again.
They are. They
they
should be. They should be.
They should be. And we're going to talk to someone who, hey, it's been his rookie year driving in a Fuel Altered, and he's had a tremendous year. So we're going to take a break. We'll get Cody Austin on to chat with him here in just a few moments. And if you're going to go compete, you got to have the right parts to do that, and the parts and pieces and components from Competition Products is where you need to source your competition needs.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S.
Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away.
Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Cody Austin, man, welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour. Good to have you on the show. And what do we got behind you? Pete Dove is afraid of the long car.
Yeah, so there's been a story about that. Pete and I, we talked it up a bit and decided what we wanted to do with the Fuel Altered group, or some of us. And so we decided that we're just going to take a few jabs back and forth for fun. And, this is our shirt we're going to wear this weekend. If we get the car together and show up, this is what we're going to be wearing at the starting line. So this is a little inside joke with Pete and his rule that limits our long cars. So we're bringing the short one this time. That's the one we had at Nitro Chaos all season. You might have seen the long one a little bit early in Dallas. We had it almost on, but not quite. So we robbed a bunch of parts off of it now to put it in the funny car. So we talked to him about, and I told Dad, hey, let's take advantage of that.
What are the big differences between the long car and the short car?
Well, really, it's just the wheelbase. The long one is 195 or 200 or whatever. So it's not as long as a dragster. There was a couple old school representatives of the long car back in the day.
Yeah.
There was one of them in particular that Dad modeled it kind of after. But yeah, what you got on screen now is the car that we're going to be bringing. That's the standard 125 inch. A lot of people call those transformers. Some purists will say, oh, the fuel altereds, they're not real fuel altereds anymore or whatever. If they're not 93 inches or they're not, I don't know all of the history, but but the reality is, for the amount of horsepower we've got, you'd have a tough time, with a 93 inch or shorter chassis. So
Yeah, Kevin Kinsley, he has been very clear when I've interviewed him, and he has spoke about driving the War Wagon in funny car trim and in fuel altered trim, that they are two completely different animals depending on whether the body's on it or not, and they just drive extremely different. So for anyone that's like, oh, they're not actually fuel altered, well, the sport does evolve, and we're not running front engine dragsters at the highest level of the sport in Top Fuel anymore, though there are some great Heritage Series racers for sure, and I'm glad they're putting on such a great show and doing a tremendous job. Now, Cody, with the Bushwhacker fuel altered, man, look, your dad for years has campaigned it, and he has won in that hot rod, and it's still running exceptionally well, and you've been able to win a few races in Nitro Chaos, but got to give us the breakdown of the history of the Austins and the Bushwhacker and it performing and excelling so well.
Okay. I'll try my best. My dad's the real historian, but I will say that, so Granddad raced. I mean, you want me to go all the way back to Granddad or just the current Bushwhacker car? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll just go back a little bit. Granddad, so he had a fuel Fiat back in the day. In fact, as far as we know, it was one of the first, flip tops. We got a picture of him, in the 50s with it, propped up kind of like a funny car would do. And anyways, he wound up racing Top Fuel, and then he got burnt, and he essentially he brought on a driver, and he had several different cars through the years, and then that's kind of where Dad got the bug, because he was just a kid running around with Granddad at the time, and then Dad built an alcohol car. He built it about 86, 87 or whatever, and then started racing in, I think, in 1989, because, I was just a kid then, and he raced from like 89 to 95, give or take. And then he was kind of out for a while. He drove for a couple of different people on and off, but then he'd always wanted a nitro car. So about 2016, 2017, the Outlaw Fuel Altered Series was kind of like the one spot in town that he could, race a nitro car. And so he built one, put it together for that. And, my granddad also had one. Well, let's back up for just a second. So my granddad, he bought another car, and then Dad thought he was going to get to drive it, and Granddad was afraid of letting him drive it. So then Dad wound up getting his own, and then they just kind of raced together at the same races. And then, I came along in like 2022. And he'd been, running that for 6 years or so. I don't remember exactly. I think he won Outlaw Fuel Altereds, 3 times, and was runner-up once. And the Nitro Chaos Series came about, and we've been doing that for a while. And now IHRA has come along, and so we're partaking in that. And then the funny car, he had built the funny car, and really didn't get a whole lot of opportunity to race that, the expense and the pit crew and everything. And then, with the amount that IHRA is paying, it really kind of worked out. It's given us an opportunity to bring that out and really kind of get it tuned up. It's a big step up from the altered as far as the pump size goes. And so it's been a learning experience, but we're basically kind of got a handle on that, or getting a handle on that. And so we're excited for this upcoming weekend. Not only for the fuel alters, but for the funny cars too. So it should be a great show.
You muted.
it again?
Did it
Jeez.
again.
Jeez. It's going to be great weather this weekend
Right.
for that
Yeah, that's
show.
gonna be exciting, right?
Great weather.
Yeah.
You guys are going to really put on a show. What it's been like for you being a rookie and driving this fuel altered for really, the first time?
Man, that's what I'll tell you. Like, Dad was talking about putting me right from my minivan directly into his fuel altered, and kind of made me nervous, because like prior to this, I've dabbled a bit with like small airplanes and flying that, and I bought an airplane that I'll say was kind of above my skill set at the time, and I wound up having to kind of revert to a smaller tailwheel airplane to kind of get some more hours. And this bigger one, that I couldn't see out of, I could only kind of look out of the side. And so I was afraid I was about to make that same mistake with an altered. So unbeknownst to him, I went and bought a little 108-inch wheelbase gas altered that runs about 550, 555 in the 8th. And I put in 3 laps in that, I think. And then it was about a year and a half or so, give or take. But before I got back I got into Dad's car. Because at the start of this season, it was about February when we were talking. He's like, look, if you're going to do this, now's the time. So come early March, I got in. And I'll tell you, those first 2 laps in that car, I wanted to be anywhere in the world but in that car. Because, I mean, it's just you just have to be in it to experience it. I mean, you've seen it, you breathe it, right? You know what it's like to warm up. But to actually be in it and to not have anybody there and you're in full control, it's just something you just got to experience. And so that first burnout, man, that car, it shot to my right. And, and I yanked the wheel as fast as I could, and it kind of came up right by the wall. My heart's thumping, and, I'm sweating. You're hot in the fire suit. And, man, it was an experience. And so when you launch in that thing, it's indescribable, really. I felt like that first launch of my gas car was really powerful. That was nothing like I'd ever experienced. And then to go straight to a nitro car, it was a lot. And but I was fortunate in the sense that Dad's car is pretty proven. For the most part, it goes pretty straight. So I wasn't working with something that was new or had it was in development. It was just it was right out of the gate, and we kind of detuned it. Ran like 450, and then, worked our way down like 408, and, then right into the 390s. And then the first Nitro Chaos race in Dallas, we were actually tuning it up for the B field. He's like, I want you to get a season of B field runs underneath your belt, get some experience, And so, all right, cool. I like that plan. I'm down with that. And we just had the fuel pump freshened up. The air was really good. So, we made a few changes, and what do you know? Well, I was supposed to let off at the first cone, like that was the deal, and it launched out of there, and I had to let off. It was carrying both wheels, and I was afraid to really turn the wheels too much because they're both off the ground, and I'm carrying them all the way. And there's some pictures floating around on the internet of that particular race because it really was carrying them all weekend, and I'm carrying them. I'm afraid, if I set it down, it's going to launch over into the wall. So about 80 foot, give or take, before the first mile-an-hour cone, I just let off and let it set down and steered back over. And what do you know? I ran a 360, and that was the fastest to the 330 a car has ever been. And so we missed the tune a little bit. I think a lot of it had to do with freshening that fuel pump up and the really good air. But the interesting thing about that car is that Dad does all that manual. So we're just in the world of computers. I've been harping on him for a while, trying to get him to go to crank trigger. I just put on a computer system this year. We're starting to get some data from it, but all of his tuning is manual. And so, yes, he's got notes and stuff that he references, but we don't have all the computer data that we're pulling. Now for the funny car, it's a different story. We started from the get-go with a computer system on that, but yeah, on the altered, I'm kind of excited, now that we're starting to finally get some data on it to see where we can take it. Because at the Nitro Chaos series, we're always he's always trying to keep it like in a safe zone, right? Not hurt parts, run pistons, we run them for 2 seasons, and just sort of kind of have a round robin racer, and it's worked pretty good in that series. But as you can see, the first IHRA race, people are coming out of the gate swinging hard. So we're ready to step this thing up and see where we can take it.
This weekend, International Hot Rod Association drag racing at the former Gallatin Motorsports Park, now Durana Motorsports Park. You all have been competing with the IHRA since it got back up and running with professional classes, such as with the funny car, and now taking the fuel altered there. Your thoughts on IHRA right now and fuel altereds being accepted and welcomed at a national event type stage in the modern day of drag racing?
Listen, fuel altereds forever. I mean, we have a funny car and we have an altered. I mean, but alters are just badass. So I think the fans are really going to accept and really love them. I mean, look at the show they put on in that first race. I mean, it was awesome. So they're shooting the big flames. You know, they got all the smells and everything of the top fuel and funny car. Like, alters are just badass all around. So I think IHRA has done an awesome move by pulling them in. I think that series is only going to grow. I think it's been kind of, and I hope it becomes a staple because it's absolutely it's going to be a great show. There's a bunch of great guys. There's supposed to be 10 cars right now coming to this race, and they're just getting the feet wet with it, right? So once they open it up and figure out what they're doing next year and have the schedule posted and have, maybe there's a championship or whatever they're going to do with that group, I think you're going to see cars coming out of the woodwork. I think you're going to see lots of awesome runs. I really think they could probably easily field a 16-car field if they wanted to. And the fans, this is something different, right? Like they've got to see it out in Nitro Chaos. Nitro Chaos has an awesome platform where they run all the different cars against one another. But I think that, being able to run altered versus altered it's something that nobody's doing right now. So absolutely, I think it's going to be cool. Plus, the altered drivers are the coolest. I mean, hands down. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. Not only you have the cars that have their personalities, each one does, and they're different. I think they add to the Nitro show and give a different look. But then you have drivers that actually have personalities and show them. I think that's important as well and a part of the show. And that's what's going to endear fans to whoever their favorite fuel altered driver may be.
Yeah, no, I think so. Absolutely. I mean, you got a great group of guys. So look, we're all in like a text group here getting ready. Everybody's showing pics of their cars. They're showing, as they travel across the United States, we're all poking fun of one another. I think that it is a really unique, awesome group of guys. And I think you're going to see a lot of cool interactions that are going on. I think that, as they, sorry, 1 second. As they continue to grow the series and more different personalities come out, I think that it's really going to be a cool event. I mean, we got some stuff planned for this weekend. We're trying to engage with the fans, specifically like I want to, bring in the kids. We got some virtual 3D stuff that we've taken of our car going down the track. Lots of different people have experienced that. So if you come by the pits, usually for anybody that's buying any merchandise or whatever, I try to talk them into doing a ride. Some people are afraid or whatever, but a lot of people embrace it and take a ride in the altered. It's really cool. You can look all around. We're trying to do stuff like that. We want to interact, with the kids. If we're not super under the gun, bring them by. Let them sit in the car, take a picture. And I think pretty much every altered driver is this way. I've seen a bunch of kids in Pete's car. I've seen them in Nitro Clown's car. So I think every guy that's out there is just, top notch.
Well, Cody, why do you think at this point Fuel Alters is getting the love that they are getting? Nitro Chaos, IHRA, Fuel Altered Chaos is coming up in a couple of weeks. There have even been rumblings on the Heritage Series side of things. People are pushing for these machines in this configuration. People want to see side-by-side 300 out of the War Wagon camp. So what is it? Why is it that now seems to be the time for fuel alters?
Well, I mean, I can't say for certain, but what I do think, is there's a lot of nostalgia for people, especially people that grew up with drag racing, like my dad and people of that age group. They experienced alters when they were young, right? So a lot of that, I think, is nostalgic for them. But at the same time, I think it's something, in a sense, while it's old, it's also new because you don't see a lot of it. You've been seeing dragsters and funny cars forever at NHRA, but you haven't seen any alters, right? So there's something about just being right there. You get to see all of the motor, and it's, a front engine car. Yeah, I mean, who knows what the future is? I think, maybe there's some front engine dragsters that come out and they do that. But I mean, either way, altereds, I think, have a unique place in a lot of people's hearts, right? And so I do think that I do think it's going to take off, and I really hope that it does. I think that it'll become a staple. I really do. And I think some of the stuff that the guys we've got planned, I think it's just going to help the series grow. I mean, you're going to see a lot of great racing. And so, and what's unique about that is that the fuel altered group is you got to group the guys that put their heart and soul into it. I mean, you've got guys like, Mighty Mouse with, running a Chevy motor on nitro. I mean, that guy lives and breathes racing. I mean, it's in his DNA. It's who he is, right? And now you pull part-time Pete out of the woodwork. He's coming out. He's ready. His car's been sitting in. It's the most waxed non-run car out there, and here he is. He's getting a chance to come out of the woodwork and run, not just sell some fuel. So I'm ready to go head-to-head against him. Mad Max and Taco Boy, right? They've been around a while at Nitro Chaos and with the Mad Max machine, but now they've got Bandito out, and they came out to a stellar first race. I'm excited to get to race those guys. And then you just got guys from all over the country. You got Dan Hicks. He had like, I don't know the full story, but I think he moved from California or whatever, and just for racing, and then came out to the first couple IHRA races, and Cinderella story, man, he won, and now he's bringing out a second car. He was an alter racer before, and so it's awesome to get to race guys like we've never got to race against before. So I think you're going to see a lot of people coming out of the woodwork, and we're all coming together. Yeah, I'm excited. What are your thoughts? Like unaltered. I mean, you've been around a bunch of different cars, right? I mean, maybe your favorite is funny cars. I don't know. That's okay. You can say it. I mean, I like you a little less, but that's cool.
Well, look, Duchesne can tell you, and I think anyone and everyone in the comments section can tell you, I have been saying since the beginning of the IHRA to become something again with professional classes that they need to be distinct from the NHRA, and a part of that, they should have nitromethane burning fuel altereds as a part of the IHRA to create a distinction and to separate themselves from the National Hot Rod Association while having a professional series. And I certainly believe that they saw the merit in such a thing with the addition of fuel altereds back there for the former Dragway 42, and it being a needle pusher for them in response, even before fuel altereds ever hit the track. So I think fuel altereds are the real deal. They really check all the boxes. They are, the modern people so often with modern funny cars, they say they don't resemble what they are supposed to look like. Well, be a fuel altered and you don't look like anything. You're just truly this hot rod, stripped down, motor, wing on it, wild looking, and yet short wheelbase, and it doesn't want to go straight, and different combinations, and all those type of things. And you can see the driver. There's something about seeing the driver, whether it is in stock car racing to drag racing. People really want to be able to see the driver, as we can see you there in the Busch Championship finals. But nonetheless, I think fuel alters check all the boxes, and the IHRA making fuel alters a part of the program, it's a smart move.
Yeah, no, and I almost wore my wife beater on there, to represent the altered group, but I went ahead and put on a shirt. But yeah, I think that it's cool what they're doing, man, because they're, what I went to an NHRA race last year, and it had been a while, and having run around like the Outlaw Fuel Alter Series and then Nitro Chaos and some Funny Car Chaos, it was a very different feel, and it was a very corporate feel. Every car has a big sponsor on there. Every car looks the same, and I understand I'm biased. I get that, but I really love specifically fuel alters because it's unique to the individual. There's not really a lot of people that are, like Nitro Clown, like he's an independent, right? Pete Dove, he's a farmer. He's an independent. My dad, he's retired. He was a carpenter. He's an independent. You don't have a lot of these big teams that are coming out with, $1 million or $5 million budgets or whatever. And it's sort of like nostalgic in the sense that you get to see, it's the era of the old, right? Where it had like your name on the side of the car or, representative of just your mascot or whatever it is. And so I really like that about the class. And I like that about IHRA as a whole. I think that, you just because a car may run, like 1,000 foot, let's say, you're running 420s or 430s. I think a good 300 mile an hour, 420 or 415 or whatever side-by-side race is preferable for me, at least, to, somebody running 380s and then the other lane goes up in smoke half the time. So I love a good side-by-side drag race, and I think the fuel alter class is going to deliver hands down. So I think that's really going to be a selling point.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that, and that's something that I paid attention to when it came down to racing, because with SEGA, we don't show times until the final round, and you pay attention more to the side-by-side racing and who's getting to the finish line first. And I feel like that's what the IHRA is doing, and that's what you get, whether it's funny car to top fuel to fuel alters, whatever. It's less about the ETs and more about the side-by-side racing and who's actually getting to the finish line first. And just because said guy may be able to run a low number, that doesn't necessarily mean that guy is going to be the hands-down winner all the time. It is very much a shake-up or a who's who when it comes down to winning, because you really don't know who can win. I also think hadn't paid attention, no fuel altered, hadn't paid attention too much, but when I got a chance to see them at the IHRA event, to me it is the old school funny car of funny cars. You know what I mean? It's a dragster, but it's not it looks like a dragster, but it's not a dragster. It's not really a funny car, but you get to see the driver. And I love the personalities of the cars. It's kind of like Pro Mod. When you have different guys come out, they have, their style, and car may be called something, and then they're dressed a certain way. I love that is unique about fuel alters. And like you said, it kind of takes you back to the days of the lunch pail guys. They go to work Monday through Thursday, Friday, they go to a racetrack. They spend the money in racing. That's their hobby. And it really is refreshing to have you guys a part of a national event. And I think like you said, I think this is an opportunity for the IHRA to see something and add to the Nitro class to elevate it. And I think the elevating part of that Nitro class is having the fuel alters.
All right, there we go. We've said it. Cody, man, you've said it. Look forward to seeing you this weekend, and fuel alters forever.
Fuel alters forever. Woo!
Yes, absolutely. Cody, thank you for your time, man.
Thank you, bro.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, guys.
Yes. IHRA having fuel altereds, it is big. Another big fuel altered race. The inaugural fuel altered chaos will be happening the week after this weekend, and something like 40 fuel altereds are entered for this Chris Graves, Jim Hughes collaboration out there at Tucson Dragway. It is going to be a spectacular show, and some of the well-known altereds in the country are going to be there, such as Johnny West from Plan A and Sheep Herder and Witch Doctor. By the way, if you haven't ever seen the Witch Doctor in person, that is just a bad hot rod. Man, I cannot wait for Fuel Altered Chaos. Look, Fuel Altereds, they just check all the boxes, man. And let me put it this way. I think we're in a day and time where when I look at NHRA Pro Mod and I even look at the PDRA, as great as that drag racing is, I feel like it's become sterile. Just, they've lost a lot of personality. They've lost a lot of uniqueness from car to car and differences. They all seem so similar now. You know, for everyone that complains about Pro Stock, I feel like you could make an argument about Pro Mod, especially in the NHRA. And the differences that are there. But, man, Fuel Altered, they're all different.
Yeah, they are, and I love that uniqueness of them. You know, and it adds to the show. It really does, and I think, you know, even with the Pro Mod, I mean, we got a darn Cadillac out there running. You know, it's not the most aerodynamic car out there, but he's out there running numbers, winning rounds, and it is definitely a class that, you know, adds a little bit of uniqueness to it and a lot of personality. And I think it's just an absolute, you know, win-win for fans, the IHRA, and then allowing them to be on a national event stage is great.
It is. Drag Racing Mayhem, don't come to me with that. I grew up in a day and time when Pro Mods had a Lamborghini in it.
Exactly.
So don't bring that.
And a Cadillac for that matter.
I mean, I remember Lamborghinis, Mercs, 49 Mercuries, Luminas.
Yep.
You know, I mean, no. Don't
Corvettes.
No.
Corvettes.
Yeah. Don't bring that to me. That, you know, you're going to get combination uniqueness. I can talk about combination uniqueness with fuel alters. I mean, he mentioned Mighty Mouse. That's a small block Chevrolet on nitromethane.
Yeah. Yeah. Insane.
Okay.
Insane.
Okay. So, yeah. In my opinion, fuel alters check all the boxes, and fuel altered chaos, hopefully, maybe becoming even more than just one race.
Yeah.
That would be great. You know, IHRA bringing in fuel altereds. I think, look, people want nitro.
Yep.
People just want nitro. They do. And not everybody wants to have a top fuel dragster and what it costs for that. And not everybody wants to have a big show funny car. But if fuel altereds can be worked out to be somewhere maybe a little bit below, but yet still pumping nitromethane, and you work that out, and they put on a show, and they're wild, and you got the characters, and they be different and put on the show, why not?
Yeah. I would like to see the front engine dragster be included into that. You know, the old school front engine dragster. Because I love the front engine dragster that has the closed cockpit. I would love to drive one of those.
Oh, you're talking about Champion Speed Shot
Yeah.
with Adam Sorokin.
Yeah.
Beautiful machine.
It is.
Absolutely beautiful. And, you know, and what the Heritage Series does that is different, especially for them with the power that they have and on nitromethane. I think what would be interesting if the IHRA was going to do something with front-engine dragsters is do like what Jake Sanders has done with the Menace and put the big tire on it.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing is, though, as we talk about all of this, is what Chris Graves has done with Nitro Chaos. If it's on Nitro, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's in front of the driver. It can be Funster, it can be a fuel altered, it can be a front engine dragster, it can be a Nitro Methane Pro Mod, it can be a unique machine such as Brian Coleman's, Chrysler Coupe on Nitro Methane. It's just any wild combination that you can come up with, and somehow it works out in the A and B fields and 8th mile drag racing and puts on a spectacular show, all of it on nitromethane. So it is out there. It is out there for sure. And the IHRA with this move, I think it is the right move. I've been saying it ever since there was this possibility of the IHRA having professional classes come back, and now it's a reality that to make themselves distinct from the NHRA, and one way to do that is to have fuel altereds, and they had them at the last event. They're going to have them at this next one, and I fully expect that in 2026 that they'll be a part of the program routinely, and if not, you never know what fuel altereds may do for themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I like the fact that they're stepping out on a limb and doing something different. And I'm really looking forward to see where this goes in the future, especially as we get into 2026 and, look forward to their championship, season. So, I think this is going to be their biggest show of the year. I think they have a great turnout. They've got, it's loaded, and just about every class has a bump spot. So I'm expecting fireworks here. And I think it's going to leave the season with people feeling good about where the IHRA is and where the future is for the sport. So I'm really happy about how this has gone for the year for the IHRA.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to 2026 for them.
I fully expect this event that's going to take place at what was known as Galot Motorsports Park is going to be their biggest show of the year. I think they'll have the best crowd. I think they will have the best turnout that they've had thus far, and that's not to say any of the other events did not have a good turnout. I think of Milan. I was at that one. Great crowd at Milan, and there were more people at Columbus, Durana Raceway 2, and they continue to grow, and they continue to add fans. And Galot, in its history, now Durana Motorsports Park, hasn't got to get much nitro showcased, if at all. It's especially door slammer country. But they're going to get door slammers. Great pro mod contingency, great mount. Certainly great door slammers in this program, but they're going to get to see nitro. And I think you couple seeing nitro for the first time there with the door slammer contingency that's going to be there. I think they're going to have their best show. They're going to end on the highest of notes for 2026.
Yeah, I believe so. And, I had Dave W. on the Not Blend show earlier tonight, and he was talking about how they are got the top end tore up, and they're putting down fresh pavement tomorrow to kind of smooth out. There were some bumps out there that they wanted to smooth out, and there'll be some fresh top end pavement out there, and they'll have that ready to go for those racers come Friday. So I'm looking forward to this whole thing, and I'm really happy for them. The potential of having a really exceptional crowd, and the show is going to be really good. A lot of great cars coming out.
Well, Dugenais, the NHRA contested and completed their Nevada Nationals.
Yeah.
Some twists and turns there, but yet I think for the most part, we go into the last race of the year. Not many of the expectations changed.
No.
And honestly, after the event, I really looked more forward to what would be announced at SEMA. And there were some big announcements today. We finally get word on Maddie Gordon, getting the branding partner and who it would be, and confirmed, and Carlisle Tools will be on her Top Fuel Dragster for 2026 with Ron Capps Motorsports.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily surprised by it, although I did not know that would be it. It seems to fit. Ron Capps already has that there. They're kind of a secondary on his car, and sometimes a primary at certain events. And I mean, what a better way to be showcased every race and be showcased by a great personality that they're going to be able to have in the Top Fuel ranks. So I'm not surprised by the announcement, but it is going to be very good. Another tool company being full-time seen, I think that's great, moving in the right direction. And like I said, they've got a really great personality over there that is really going to represent the brand very well.
Absolutely. Great pairing all around for her, for Ron Capps, and for Carlisle. And folks, just pay attention. They'll continue to have more announcements from SEMA on the NHRA stage. They have been live and will be live. Keith Haney made the announcement that it's going to throw in with KB Titan, and basically going to be KB Titan Pro Mod. And he's going to be participating more heavily with them, and you can see them fielding that. Eric Latino certainly has a Pro Mod background. Before stepping to the Pro Stock ranks, he was in a Pro Mod for many, many years. So KB Titan taking their expertise to the Pro Mod ranks.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I like that. A new face, new people adding to the pot. I love it. It only can get better. So really excited about that. The whole Rob Flynn thing and the movement, does that mean he's no longer with them, or he's just in a different role, if you know anything about that?
I don't. I would assume with that movement, it means that he is no longer with the team. Granted, that wasn't clarified. That wasn't stated. So that is speculation.
Yeah.
To say that. I wish they would have been more clear in that aspect, but we don't know. We're only making an assumption with that Rick Ware Racing announcement of that move taking place. Hopefully it's clarified in the future and we understand more clearly. It wasn't SEMA, it was in testing, but a lot of the big news around testing involves an individual that we've had on the show here many times, Dave Davies, just showcasing how tough it is in these cars. He had a wild ride in a Top Fuel Dragster licensing, and just goes to show that, people dive into comment sections and they make comments and they don't know. I mean, that individual, he's made so many laps down a racetrack in the factory stock car. And factory stock cars in their own right are not easy to drive. I've seen a lot of people wipe them out and have some gnarly incidents. But you go from one to the other and just how they drive completely different. And no telling what might have happened for him behind the wheel. And it might not have been fully driver error for all we know. Terrible incident, though. Glad that he was able to come out unscathed from what I have been able to read and understand. Again, we see so many times things not go bad, but they can go so bad so quickly. You never know.
Yeah, man. A lot of people are really hard on the guy, and look, this is not, those things aren't easy and they're very unpredictable, especially young in the seat. You don't really have that seat of the pants feel yet, and it happened so fast. I mean, it went up in smoke. By the time, if you're a young driver, by the time you realize it, it may be a little bit too late. Next thing you know, it's sideways and it's over. The throttle could have been stuck. I don't know. There could have been some mechanical problem. I think could be many things, but I think what we learned from it all is these cars are unpredictable and they're dangerous. It's just all there is to it. There is risk, and things happen, and when they happen in those cars, it's a blink of an eye, and the next thing you know, you're in the wall. It's just how it is. That's just the nature of these beasts. And, he'll learn from it. And I'm sure he's not going to be afraid to get back in the race car. And that'll be it. So, I know a lot of people killing them in the comment section of online, but I'm not going to give the guy a hard time. That's just not. It's not easy to do, especially as a young driver. It's not easy to do, and I'm sure the conditions look like the conditions were pretty good conditions. So I mean, it just happens so fast, man, and sometimes not fast enough to react.
Right. What I find fascinating in the comment section is all the experts that clearly they've been driving for years and fully understand what to do. And look, stuff happens.
Yeah.
There have been people that they have gone on to have great careers and they've had accidents very early on. Larry Dixon was licensed from what I understand, but he had a terrible testing accident. It wasn't his fault. But, terrible testing accident in Bakersfield when they used to have, preseason testing in Bakersfield before he ever went to Pomona. So, stuff happens. And it can happen anytime.
Yeah, it can. It's just one of those things when you're talking about nitro and how quickly they accelerate. It's just something that happens. Andrew makes a good point, a good comment there. Mod Eliminator, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that all transpires out. There is rumor mill. I cannot confirm or deny, but I do have an idea who that's going to be. But I cannot confirm or deny that. But I'm looking forward to Mod Eliminator. I want to see how this all pans out. Again, we talk about them having a lot of classes already. We're adding another one to this. Are we removing something? And there's some kind of talk about possibly this could be, there's some talk that there could be a possibility of Pro Stock Truck or something, not really coming back as a professional class, but could be a part of the, sportsman ranks. I would love to see the trucks to come back.
Yeah, that would be cool. You already have, you have
one.
You still have in competition eliminator at least one, if not a couple, that date back all the way to being in those ranks.
Yep.
So they're still out there technically. They're just in competition eliminator. Thank God for competition eliminator. It certainly will be interesting to see how the mod eliminator will work out within the economy of NHRA drag racing. The last part of Andrew's question, thoughts on the crash during the legal street race. Look, I love the no prep scene. I think it is a very cool scene. I feel like it harkens back to hot rodding and drag racing the way it was before it became super professionalized. But it astounds me so many times how the no prep scene, they try to reinvent the wheel and think that stuff hasn't happened in the past. Like, folks, Yellow River is a reality in the history of drag racing. And if I said that, you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to go do your research. And the issue, look, there should never be an incident where safety workers or fans are struck by a racing vehicle except by the most rare cases. And in the no prep scene, I hear about it too many times. It was a couple of years ago. There was a airport no prep race in Texas, and the barriers went to the 8th mile and the 8th mile alone, and yet they had people pitted beyond the 8th mile, and a car got out of shape beyond the 8th mile and went into the pit area. Dumb.
Yeah.
Cars get out of shape anywhere on the track, especially past the finish line. Just dumb. And I don't know exactly what happened at H-Town, but the fact is, drag racing should be beyond this. Like, figure it out. Now, look, you cannot eliminate everything. You might have the random tire shear off or part or shrapnel or something like that. That can happen in any motorsports event. Do not misunderstand me. But when you look at the facility and you look at where you're racing, and you think to yourself, like, yeah, no one's ever going to get out that far. They probably will. Racing tends to prove what you think couldn't happen will happen in one way or the other. When you're setting up a facility, you have got to go the extra mile to keep people safe.
I agree.
So I'm sure this was I'm sure it was a weird incident, but it just fascinates me that these type of things keep coming out of the no prep scene. Fix your stuff.
Yep. It is it's beyond me that we haven't figured out yet that we need to have some type of safe area where we don't have fans unprotected, first off, and second of all, in areas or too close to the racing action. You know what I mean? Getting fans back is something that should be thought of. They should never be passed. They should never be past anything that is keeping the car within the racetrack. And it is wild to me that we still have to talk about stuff like this that's avoidable.
It just is. It simply is. And, and I think IHRA drag racing, they seriously got to look at facilities that they even go to now and hey, what can we do to make this safer for fans? Because they are doing 330, 340 miles per hour. And, I think about Dave Davies' incident. I'm sure many of you have seen the video. I had it sent to me directly. And even though it was sent to me directly, I didn't post it because it wasn't for me to post.
Nope.
Imagine that. But just goes to show you, if you see something, it doesn't mean it's always yours to post.
Right.
FYI, for anyone trying to be in the media. But you have this incident, and you look at what transpired with Dave, and if that had been some other tracks, and it wasn't Vegas, and him just going into the other section of racetrack, man, he might have been in the first row.
Yeah.
You kind of have to look at it, and if I'm the NHRA, it's not just, hey, this was a situation where an unexperienced driver had an incident. No, you got to look at it and go man, that dragster went a good ways.
Yeah. I mean, you're into the people on the fence line.
I mean, it went a good ways.
Yeah, and maybe like 5 rows deep into the fence line. Up next to the grandstands type.
Yeah.
Because that thing went a long way into the other lanes and up against the far wall. So, yeah, that's stuff that we have to think about here going forward. And, we've had this conversation about making adjustments to where we have fans parked and where they're standing and all these things. These things are well beyond what they were years ago, and we haven't really made those adjustments to ensure that we have minimalized that possibility of a car getting that far. And with the amount of torque, power, and speed that they make, if they careen over the wall in that fashion, it will get into the stands, and there will be people hurt that are standing on the fence line. Yeah,
I'm sure they're looking at it and going oof, wow, man, and what are their thoughts? Granted, he did hit asphalt instead of hitting dirt. Dirt would have slowed progress down.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot to think about, but I love the no prep scene. It is so cool. I've been to no prep events. They're neat. I love what they're doing, but it seems like these incidents are coming out of the no prep scene routinely.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like about twice a year we'll hear of some no prep event and somebody struck.
Yep.
Think about where you're doing your racing, and think about you don't know. You kind of have to be the individual that plans for the worst and go beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
To everyone involved, what a terrible incident. You've got people there that want to keep people safe, and they become a part of the ones that need to be attended to.
Yeah.
And for all those that are affected, condolences. And to promoters, you got to think about these things.
Yep.
You've got to think about
be
these
smarter.
things.
Got to be smarter about it.
You got to be smarter. And, they may never race in that situation again. And that was a cool event. It may never happen again.
Yep.
And
that's unfortunate.
You have an incident like this, and then that just gives more ammunition for the people who despise motorsports.
Yep.
So,
that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Yep. It's unfortunate, man. Very unfortunate.
It really is. It really is. So
And
our
yet
condolences.
avoidable.
But to promoters, you got to be smarter. And you got to stop thinking just how many cars do I have? How much money am I going to make? How much am I going to have my payout? Matter of fact, one of the first things you really need to be thinking about is how can I have a safe race?
Yep.
Because do you want to make the news like that, promoter?
No.
And stop being a racer. Stop thinking like a racer. Because racers think that it will never happen to them, and it eventually will. And if you're going to think that way as a promoter, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yep.
Because it can happen.
Yep.
We see it way too often.
That's dangerous. That's a dangerous thought process.
Very. Very. Well, we got some great drag racing coming up this weekend. IHRA there at the former Galot Motorsports Park, now Durana Motorsports Park. It's southeast of the Raleigh-Durham area, maybe about 45 minutes if I remember correctly. It's been a little while since I've been over there. Great area of North Carolina. Looking forward to those fans there, great fans that turn out at the former Galot Motorsports Park to get an opportunity to see Nitro. It is my intention to be there and looking forward to covering the action. And then I'll be traveling out west to Tucson for Fuel Altered Chaos. But we got some great racing this weekend. The season is not done yet. There's still plenty of racing. Thank you, Jacob, for reminding. World Cup.
Yeah.
At Maryland International Raceway this weekend. One of the big ones in drag racing, for sure. I mean, I saw the stacking picture. It looked insane how those trailers were funneling in down to the point and people getting in. And what a fabulous event it is. We had Royce on after the announcement of going to IHRA, and we need to have him on after Man Cup one time and talk about the event and him trying to recover from it. So we need to have that happen. It's going to be a good show there.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be a good show. Andrew, I'll tell you this, and I'm going to be, you know how I am. I'm very straightforward, and I don't mince my words. I'm sick of entitled people, and to be honest with you, you want to be blunt. We as Americans are and act very entitled, and it doesn't help that it seems like every time you turn around, people are extremely angry about everything, and they go from 0 to 100 when it's not even necessary to do so. And people do not. There's no respect for other people, and there's no respect for other people's property either. And that's missing in this world today, whether people want to admit it or not. And it just entitlement will do that to you. And I think people have lost humility and empathy and respect. And that's why you see these things going on. And it is not acceptable at all. And to be honest with you, if I'm the racetrack and I find out who that is, they are never to return again. Period. You're banned forever. Because there's just no place for it, man. Like, it's getting to the point where we can't even go out of our homes to go do something to have fun without some jabroni getting in his feelings and showing his level of entitlement and ruining it for everybody. Personally, I'm sick of it, sick of seeing it. And I hope tracks step up, and when they see these types of things, and it is very clear that this is not going to de-escalate, that they just go on and kick them up on out of there, never to see them again. Just that simple. When you start banning folks and start bringing down the hammer, some attitudes will start to change then.
Yeah, like let's start taking photos, faces, and like banned for damaging the bathroom.
Yep.
If you find it, and just put the scarlet letter on them, kick them out, and be done with it. And to what Andrew's asking, Atmore Dragway in Alabama, they announced that they were going to be closing, and I have seen routinely at the top of the list or near the top of the list when tracks announce they're closing and they put out that Facebook post that everyone reacts to, and everybody's sad, like, oh no, why now? And thought things were good. However, they're commenting near the top of the list, if not the top of the list, is the people and the criticism.
Yeah.
Look, it is not easy running and operating tracks. It is not a money-making proposition. And that does not mean that there's not times where criticism is the proper thing. That does come. But oftentimes, people are way too critical.
Yep.
For whatever reason. And stop whining. And just go enjoy.
Yeah.
Because if you don't cut a little bit of slack and accept that you're not in charge, and because you're not in charge, you're not going to get it your way exactly how you want it. You never know. Someone might just up and close the doors and be done with it.
Yep.
And you've lost a racetrack.
Yep. Because that's really what it is a lot of times. They don't want to put up with your crap. They're tired of hearing it, and they're tired of dealing with you. And since you don't give a crap, they don't either. They don't want to have to deal with it. Because it's not easy running a racetrack.
Right.
So just shut up and be happy you have a racetrack to go to and support it. And stop complaining all the time. Because I'm telling you, man, like, there's too much of that going on. Like,
way too much.
People need to find another hobby. And complaining ain't it.
Yes. Yeah, complaining is not it. And people, just got to get beyond it. I mean, so many track operators. You actually, talk to them, and you get to talk to them. And I've got to have this show eventually with the likes of like Veronica up at Byron and, others across the country, such as, Gerald Kramer and just others of, hey, you are in this situation and you're trying to run and operate a racetrack, trying to please everybody, and it just doesn't work. You would not believe the stories they get of just people being done. Near the level of like, just be done with it. And the stories you get of just people, like, where do you think this is a good idea?
Yeah. Yep. It's
so
great, man.
Sometimes criticism is valid, but I have too often seen and heard that the criticism is misplaced, and it is not valid.
Yeah. That comes down to education, which that's something else that don't get done. Hey, man. Hey, I'm just telling it like it is, Dave. That's all it is. Just when you ask me the question, don't be mad because you got the smoke, because I'm going to give it to you.
Look,
Yep.
no track operator is perfect. No promoter is perfect.
Nope.
And I think many of them would admit that easily. But go enjoy the place you got to race. Possibly, if you're going to criticize, man, ask, how can I help? First and foremost. You know, if you don't like something, like maybe you're the catalyst to do some fundraising or something. I don't know. But so many times when you see we're shutting the doors on a racetrack, at the top or near the top of the list is the criticism.
Yeah, they just had enough.
Just had enough. Just had enough.
Yep. Unfortunate, though. Unfortunate.
Well, speaking of enough, I think we've had enough.
Yes, sir.
We're going to shut it down. I'm going to get back to the house from Wild Wing Cafe here in Anderson, South Carolina. It's been a great little pit stop. Wings were good. Enjoyed them. And thanks to Leslie Horne and Cody Austin for their time. And thank you all for joining in.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, to everyone. Take care. God bless. Keep the pedal to the metal.
QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a new and easier alternative to online classified advertising. We make it a simple experience with $20 getting your car, hauler, engine, or parts listed for 2 weeks. If you want to make a bigger splash, we have VIP listings that provide even more exposure, including social media. On QuarterMileClassifieds.com, you get up to 10 photos of video and up to 2,000 characters to deliver the message you need to make the sale. QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a trusted classified ad partner of Competition Plus and the Roof Deck Top Eliminator Bonus Fund. Visit QuarterMileClassifieds.com today.